All right, now to the case that captured the nation's interest. A local mom killed by heroin put in her cereal.
Man found guilty of her murder, her husband, Jason Harris, who is going to be sentenced tomorrow morning. It took years for police to investigate and charge Harris.
So what are the behind-the-scenes details? Let's bring in Local 4 defender Karen Drew with an interesting twist in this case, Karen.
Well, Kim and Devin, that guilty verdict is due in part to sisterly love. Christy Thompson, Harris's sisters, didn't buy their brother-in-law's story that their sister overdosed, so they decided to do a little detective work themselves. They're sisters, Patricia Hutchinson, a manufacturing engineer, Katrina Sharon, a mortgage auditor. But the past few years, these two have had another job. They've been investigating their sister's murder.
A healthy 36-year-old who doesn't wake up is not ordinary. That should have been suspect from the get-go, and it wasn't. So we had to fight for her.
The story made headlines all around the country. Jason Harris convicted after his wife's breast milk helped prove he laced his wife's cereal with a lethal dose of heroin. But that verdict came 7 years after Christy Thompson Harris died. Why so long? Well, Davison police didn't consider the mother of two's death a murder. That is, until Christy's sisters started nosing around.
And I'm not a detective, but I mean, I looked up more than I've ever looked up before.
Their first concern, how the crime scene was handled the day their sister's body was found inside her Davison home. Remember, her death was deemed an accidental drug overdose.
As soon as my sister's body left the house, Jason had access to his home, and the officer left when she left.
Then there is their sister's breast milk. The family kept telling police to check Christy's milk. It would show she was not doing drugs. No tests were run.
They had information at their fingertips that they ignored within the first 48 hours.
More than 6 years passed, no action by authorities. The family filed a civil suit. And again, it was the sisters doing some of the investigating.
Because the police kept saying, we don't know if he got the heroin, where did he get it? So I was engulfed in this world of drugs that I did not take a part in at all and didn't know anything about.
Patricia and Katrina tracked down friends and old co-workers of Jason Harris, looking for any tidbit of information they could find. Then, the frozen breast milk they had saved from their sister was the turning point. It was finally tested and clean of drugs, leading to the conviction of Harris.
I mean, it was for my sister. I know she didn't use drugs.
It would later come out in court that Harris gave his wife Christy a bowl of cereal that night she died, and that cereal was laced with a lethal dose of heroin.
It's surreal just because we've been fighting so long that it's almost like I don't know what to do now. Like, how do you close this chapter?
The Local 4 defenders reached out to Davison police and the Davison city manager. No one was willing to talk to us about the case and why the department didn't do more in terms of investigating at the very beginning.
I just don't want anyone else to have to go through this. People do not deserve this.
While the sisters accomplished what they wanted, finding the truth, it doesn't bring back their sister, Christy.
And it's hard to have kids because she doesn't get to meet them. She doesn't get to see them.
So very hard. Jason Harris, by the way, he will be sentenced tomorrow morning in a Flint courtroom. I'm going to be in that courtroom. I'll be talking with the family as well after that sentence is handed down.
So how are the children in this case? We know he has two daughters. What's the story with them now?
Well, they've tried to keep them out of the spotlight, which is understandable. But I have to tell you, the grandparents now are in a guardianship fight. So they're fighting over the children. The parents, Christy's parents, they spent their entire life savings and retirement to help with this investigation. So now they don't have money. They're trying to do a GoFundMe so they can help take care of these kids. It's a mess. They do have a GoFundMe page. I put that on clickondetroit.com if anybody wants to help these grandparents.
That's great. Yeah. Right, Karen.